She begged for counseling after I caught her cheating, but it was too late. Hi, True Story. My name's Andrew. First off, I want to say thank you for what you're doing with your channel. I only found you because of one of those recommended for you videos that popped up while I was scrolling YouTube late one night. I had just finalized my divorce not too long ago, and I was in that headspace where you're half searching for answers, half just looking for something that makes you feel like you're not alone. One of your videos about a guy who found out his wife was cheating hit me like a freight train because it mirrored my own life in ways that made the hairs stand up on the back of my neck. So I figured, why not write in? Maybe my story will help another guy out there recognize the red flags earlier, or at least realize he's not crazy when his gut tells him something's off. Let me back it up to the very beginning. I met my ex-wife Lena on a Carnival cruise back in 2012. I was 26 at the time, still working out what I wanted to do with my career, and honestly, just happy to be on vacation with my parents and younger brother. I wasn't expecting anything more than sun, food, and maybe a few drinks. Lena was there with her family too, her mom, dad, and her cousin. I noticed her the first night at one of those big dining hall dinners. She had this loud laugh, the kind that makes everyone turn their head, and she didn't seem shy about much. Our families ended up sitting at tables near each other, so it didn't take long for us to start talking. The crazy part is, even though cruise romances are usually just fling material, we clicked. I mean, we spent the next 6 days practically glued at the hip. We watched the cheesy onboard shows together, laid out by the pool, and talked for hours on the deck under the stars. By the time the cruise ended, I felt like I had just stepped out of a rom-com. We exchanged numbers and social media, promised to keep in touch, and, against the odds, we actually did. The dating years. When we got back to our normal lives, the distance wasn't terrible. We only lived about 3 hours apart by car, so weekend visits became our thing. I'd drive to her city one weekend. She'd come to mine the next. That first year felt exciting, like we were building something. But even early on, there was this shadow hanging over us. Her ex-boyfriend. Let's call him Derek. Derek was one of those guys who couldn't let go. Every time Lena would post a picture of us on social media, he'd find some excuse to comment or message her. Sometimes it was harmless stuff like, "Hope you're doing well," but other times it was way more loaded. Things like, "We both know no one will ever understand you the way I do." I told Lena straight up, block him. You can't build a new relationship if you're still entertaining your past. But she brushed it off, said, "Oh, he's just being stupid. I don't want to make drama by blocking him." That should have been my first red flag. Instead, I convinced myself I was overreacting. Fast forward to 2015, I proposed. She said yes. And for a while, things really did feel good. We had a beautiful wedding, bought a little starter home, and did all the normal couple things, grocery runs, furniture shopping, binging Netflix series. But lurking in the background, Derek was always there. Cracks in the foundation. The fights about her ex never truly stopped. Sometimes I'd catch her texting him when she thought I wasn't looking. She'd say, "It's just friendly. You're being controlling." And I'd doubt myself, wondering if I was being insecure. I wasn't perfect either. I worked long hours, and sometimes I came home too exhausted to give her the attention she wanted. But here's the thing. When you love someone, you make excuses for them. You tell yourself, "She wouldn't really hurt me. She's just naive." That self-delusion kept me hooked longer than I should have been. The discovery. The moment everything came crashing down happened in late 2022. I'll never forget it. Lena had left her laptop open on the kitchen counter. She'd gone upstairs to shower, and I was grabbing a drink before heading to bed. I wasn't snooping, at least not intentionally, but an incoming message notification popped up on the screen. It was from Derek. I shouldn't have clicked, but I did. And once I did, I couldn't stop. What I read made my stomach turn. Messages about them meeting up when I thought she was working late. Messages about how she missed the way he made her feel. Messages where she told him, "Don't worry, Andrew will never find out." I froze. My hands were shaking so bad I had to put the laptop down. Part of me wanted to run upstairs, throw open the bathroom door and confront her right then and there. But another part of me thought, no, don't let her gaslight you. Gather proof. So I spent the next week quietly collecting evidence. Screenshots, texts, even checking our phone bill records to confirm the time she was calling him. It was all there, clear as day. Finding a lawyer. The day after I had enough evidence, I scheduled a consultation with a divorce lawyer. I can't describe the cocktail of emotions I felt. Anger, grief, relief, even a weird sense of betrayal toward myself for ignoring my instincts all these years. The lawyer asked me what outcome I wanted. I didn't even hesitate. I want out, and I want it done clean. We decided the best move was to serve her papers at work. Some people think that's harsh, but here's my mindset. She chose to humiliate me by sneaking around. Why should I protect her from embarrassment when she showed me none? Serving her at work. The day came. I'll admit I wasn't there when she got served, but I heard about it after. Her coworkers saw the look on her face when the papers were handed to her. She apparently broke down crying right there at her desk. When she got home that night, she was a wreck. She begged me not to go through with it. She swore it was just emotional cheating and that they hadn't gone all the way recently. The word recently told me all I needed to know. She pleaded for marriage counseling. She even said she'd block Derek and cut him out of her life for good. But by that point, the damage was irreversible. I looked her dead in the eye and told her, "You made your choice, now I'm making mine." The aftermath. The divorce process was painful, but also freeing. She tried every trick in the book, love bombing me one week, rage texting me the next, even trying to recruit mutual friends to talk sense into me. But I stayed firm. When the divorce was finalized, I walked out of that courthouse feeling lighter than I had in years. It wasn't joy exactly, it was more like relief. Relief that I didn't have to keep questioning my worth or playing detective in my own marriage. Reflection. Looking back, I realized I ignored so many red flags because I didn't want to start over. I thought investing years into someone meant I had to see it through. But the truth is, loyalty to the wrong person only drains you. I've learned now that peace is better than fake love. And honestly, if I hadn't found your channel when I did, I probably would have kept second guessing myself, wondering if I did the right thing. Hearing other men's stories reassured me that walking away was the strongest move I could have made. So that's my story, true story. If you think it'll help anyone out there, feel free to share it. It's Andrew again. First off, I want to say thank you for reading my first email. Writing that out was therapeutic in a way I didn't expect. It's one thing to tell a couple of friends your story over beers, but it's another to put it all down and know it might reach other guys who've been through the same type of pain. I've been thinking a lot since the divorce was finalized. The strangest part isn't how it ended, it's what happened after. My ex-wife Lena, the same woman who betrayed me and begged me not to leave once I confronted her, has continued to chase me ever since, and I don't get it. This is the same woman who couldn't respect our marriage enough to shut down communication with her ex-boyfriend. She couldn't give me the bare minimum of loyalty, but now that I've turned my back, suddenly I'm the prize again. It's like some twisted cat and mouse game. I've been trying to understand it because, if I'm being honest, it messes with your head. You start asking yourself, why do they only chase when you're gone? Why wasn't I worth the effort when I was right there fighting for us? Why am I worth chasing only after I walked away? Let me break it down, because I know I'm not the only one who's experienced this. The first few weeks after divorce, right after the divorce papers were signed, Lena went quiet. I assumed that was it. She'd move on with Derek or whoever else she wanted to entertain, and I'd move on with my life. But less than a month later, I started getting these late night texts. I miss you. I can't believe you're really gone. Can we just talk? At first, I ignored them. Then she started calling. I'd block her number, and she'd find another way, messaging me on social media, emailing me from her work account, even asking mutual friends to pass along urgent messages. It felt relentless, like she couldn't accept that I was really gone. But here's the kicker. When I was in the marriage begging her to choose me over her ex, begging her to cut off communication, she acted like I was the problem. She called me controlling. She said I was insecure. She made me feel like I was asking for too much. So why the hell? Now that I finally walked away, am I suddenly this irreplaceable man she can't stop chasing? Cat and mouse. It feels like the oldest game in the book. If you pursue too hard, you look desperate. You lose your value in their eyes. They start thinking, oh, I've got him wrapped around my finger. I can do whatever I want. But the second you pull away, the second you say, I'm done, it flips. Suddenly you're this shiny thing they can't live without. And that's what I've realized. It was never about love for her. It was about control. As long as I was chasing, she felt secure. She knew she could always string me along. But when I flipped the script, when I showed her she wasn't the only one with power in the relationship, she panicked. It's not love, it's ego. Her attempts to win me back. I'll give you some examples because maybe some guy reading this will see the pattern in his own life. One time she showed up at my job. No warning, no invitation. Just strolled into the parking lot during my lunch break like nothing happened. She brought me my favorite lunch from a local spot and said, I thought we could eat together like old times. I was polite, but I told her straight up, you can't just show up here. She started crying in the parking lot, saying, why are you being so cold to me? As if I hadn't caught her betraying me months earlier. Another time, she sent me a long, handwritten letter. Who even writes letters anymore? It was full of I realize now how good I had it. You were always my rock. I made the biggest mistake of my life. I'll admit, part of me almost felt sorry for her reading that. But then I remembered all the nights I went to bed wondering if she was lying about where she was. All the times I begged her to choose our marriage over Derek, and she rolled her eyes. Sorry, but a letter can't erase years of disrespect. And then came the grand gesture. Out of nowhere, she posted a long, emotional rant on Facebook about how she lost the best man she ever knew because of her own selfishness. She tagged me in it. I had friends texting me like, dude, did you see what Lena posted? It was embarrassing. I had to untag myself and ask her to take it down. That's when it hit me. None of this was really about me. It was about her trying to save face. She wasn't trying to reconcile for us. She was trying to prove to everyone else that she still had a hold on me. Family and friends weighing in. The hardest part about all of this was the people around us. Some of our mutual friends, and even a couple of my family members, said things like, maybe you should hear her out. Maybe counseling wouldn't be such a bad idea. I had to remind them. This wasn't a one-time mistake. This wasn't something I caught before it went too far. She had a whole emotional and physical, let's be honest, relationship with another man while married to me. She made a conscious decision over and over again to betray me. It's amazing how quickly people forget the hurt you went through. They see the tears and the theatrics and they think, oh, she must really mean it this time. But I lived it. I know better. Why do they chase? Here's the question that keeps me up some nights. Why do they only chase once you walk away? I've come to a few conclusions. It's about losing control. As long as I was chasing, she had the upper hand. When I stopped, she realized she wasn't in control anymore. That scared her. It's about validation. People like Lena feed off attention. When I pulled mine away, she lost her supply. Chasing me was less about wanting me back and more about wanting that validation again. It's about the ego hit. Cheaters often think they can have their cake and eat it too. They expect you to always be there. When you're not, it shatters the image they have of themselves as irresistible. The cruel irony is, if I had chased her after catching her, she would have kept stringing me along. But because I walked, I became the thing she couldn't have, and suddenly the most desirable man in the world to her. It's twisted. Lessons learned. If there's one thing I've learned, it's this. Walking away is the most powerful move you can make. Not because it makes them chase you. Honestly, who cares if they chase after they've already shown you who they are? But because it restores your dignity. It reminds you that you have value, with or without them. For the longest time, I thought being loyal meant fighting for her no matter what. Now I know loyalty is wasted on someone who doesn't respect it. I've also learned that the chase after you leave is just noise. It's not a real apology. It's not a real change of heart. It's desperation mixed with ego. Don't fall for it. Moving forward. Since the divorce, I've been focusing on myself. I've picked up hobbies I let die during the marriage, playing guitar, hiking on weekends, even getting back into the gym. I've reconnected with friends I lost touch with. Most importantly, I've been working on my mindset, reading, journaling, even therapy. Because if I don't process this, I know I'll carry the scars into my next relationship. And let me tell you, nothing feels better than waking up in a house where the peace is real. No more checking phone records. No more wondering why she's coming home late. No more lies. Just peace. Final thoughts. So that's where I'm at now. Lena is still, even months later, trying to chase me down. But I see it for what it is. A game, a cycle, and I'm not playing anymore. To any guy reading this who's stuck in the push-pull dynamic, listen to me. Walk away. If she respects you, she won't put you in that position to begin with. And if she doesn't respect you, no amount of chasing will change that. Love yourself enough to turn your back when you need to. You'll be amazed how much lighter your life feels.